welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
So you've sent over some really interesting material this time. It's all about the experiences and, well, the insights of dating coach Chris Bale,
That's right.
specifically drawing from his book, or his journey really, in Seduction, from shy guy to ladies' man.
Yeah, it's quite a mix you've gathered. It's got his, personal stories, almost like diary entries sometimes, and then it's blended with his coaching advice. So you get this really pretty close look at how he developed his thinking on, men-women connection.
And what jumped out at me straight away, and I think it will for you listening too, is how Bale's perspective clearly changes over time.
Oh, definitely.
He seems to start off, quite tactical, almost like, here are the rules for picking up women.
Right, like a formula.
Exactly.
Okay.
But then it shifts, doesn't it, into something much more internal, about self-awareness, real connection.
Yeah.
So our mission, let's say, for this deep dive, is to kind of trace that path, pull out the key ideas, not just about dating, but maybe about feeling more, well, fulfilled overall.
And it takes some surprising turns.
It really does. Like how his first big success with Seduction actually made him feel kind of empty. That was a real surprise. Okay, so where should we start?
Well, I think a good starting point is that core idea he hits on early, the illusion of external validation.
Ah, yes.
He talks quite openly about how he got, obsessed with the idea that being good with women, good at seduction, that would finally make him happy, give him some self-worth.
But he learned something pretty important, doesn't he?
He really does. There's that powerful quote. You probably saw it.
The one about, it does not matter how good you get with women. That's it.
It will not complete you or grant you eternal happiness. You are in charge of that.
It's quite a statement. And for you listening, really flags up this crucial point. The stuff we chase on the outside often doesn't fill the gap if the inside isn't sorted.
Exactly. His whole experience is like a case study in that. Chasing a fantasy isn't the same as finding real happiness.
He does say, though, that he got some benefits at first, right? Like developing more masculine ambition, trusting himself more.
Yeah, he doesn't totally dismiss it. He gained something. Some self-development happened there.
But then it hit a wall. That initial buzz just stopped.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a deeper purpose driving it.
Right. And that's key. You can get pretty far on external achievements, maybe, but for that lasting stuff, that real contentment, it seems like it needs to be rooted deeper internally.
Totally. Which leads him into that phase he very bluntly calls drowning in pussy.
Ha! Yes. Very direct.
He's describing this period of just intense sexual conquest.
Yeah.
He basically achieved the fantasy.
Right.
What maybe a lot of guys think they want.
But instead of satisfaction?
Emptiness.
Yes?
Just felt hollow.
Yeah, that anecdote about waking up next to the Swedish yoga instructor, that one really paints a picture.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's achieved this goal, this image of success he'd been chasing, and he just feels nothing, or worse than nothing.
Lying there, 4 p.m., lukewarm beer. It's definitely not the rom-com ending.
No. And he actually calls out the rom-coms. Says they're complete bullshit about what makes people happy.
It's that gap, isn't it, between the fantasy we're sold and the messy reality of just pursuing sensation without connection.
He even gives that other really stark example, waking up next to someone about to marry another guy.
Yeah.
It just hammers home the lack of real connection. It feels pretty raw, him hitting that low point.
Yeah.
Makes you think, doesn't it? For you listening, maybe pause and consider, have you ever chased something thinking this is it and then found?
Yeah.
Meh. Or worse.
It really drives home that more isn't always better, especially with relationships. He was like feeding a desire, maybe even an addiction, like he says, but it wasn't touching the deeper need for, purpose, connection.
Which perfectly sets up his next big realization, the whole inner work thing.
And purpose beyond just women.
Yes. He gets really clear on this. Purpose comes first.
Before the focus on dating, on relation.
Exactly. He talks about finding actual happiness, real balance by doing things like meditation, coaching other people, acupuncture, even DJing, I think.
Yeah, these other passions and pursuits, that's where the genuine fulfillment started creeping in.
And he spells it out, doesn't he? Has another quote.
The one like, women alone will not fix you.
That's it. But Riti, if you can use what you are learning to get more experience with women AD and focus on your purpose and passions in life, you, my friend, will be a happy, healthy man.
It's about integration, isn't it? Not ditching the desire for connection, but building it on a stronger foundation, like having your own life sorted first.
Right. For you listening, Maybe think about where romance fits in your whole life picture, not just as the main event.
It's like, okay, being good with women is one skill, one part of life. But it's not the answer to everything. The answer had to come from inside, from having his own direction.
And you can see how figuring that out started to change how we actually interacted with women. He mentions moving away from being that lovable loser type towards actually making real connections.
That New Year's Eve story sounds like a massive turning point.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, he's there, alone, everyone else celebrating, and he just has this moment of deciding he's done trying to be what everyone else wants.
Done people-pleasing.
Exactly. He realized he'd spent so much energy trying to fit in, trying to be liked, that he'd kind of lost himself, you know?
Oh, I think a lot of people can relate to that pressure to perform or fit a mold.
For sure. And he even felt it physically getting sick all the time, which he kind of linked to bottling up all that frustration, that anger.
So his solution was just stop caring.
Pretty much. Stop giving a damn, be the guy with nothing left to lose. He decided to just feel what he felt. Anger, sadness, whatever. If he felt introverted, he'd be introverted. Put himself first.
Wow. That takes guts.
It does. And he says it cost him friendships, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't fit the old dynamic anymore.
Right.
But it sounds like clearing out the old made space for the new, more authentic stuff. And crucially, he dropped all the techniques.
Ah, the lines, the routines.
All the canned stuff, as he calls it, gone. Which again, for you listening, maybe think, are there any scripts you feel stuck in socially? Things stopping you from just being you?
Okay, so he lets go of trying to impress, and then what happens? Because this is where he says things really started to shift.
Yeah, this is the fascinating part. He basically decided he was unattractive inside and out and just gave up trying to change that or convince women otherwise.
He genuinely gave up on the whole getting girls thing.
Exactly. And that leads directly to his big, seductive epiphany in an Irish bar, of all places.
Right, the Irish bar story. So he's there.
He's there, dimly lit corner, just feeling his own feelings, which happen to be a bit negative, a bit leave me alone. He sees this woman, Ciara, thinks she's beautiful, but has zero intention of doing anything about it. Like, literally thinks, yeah, normally I'd be interested, but I just can't be bothered trying anymore.
Wow. Total lack of agenda.
Complete lack of trying. And that apparently was incredibly magnetic. It's that paradox, isn't it? Stop trying so hard, and sometimes it just happens.
So what happens next? Does he approach her?
No. They make eye contact, but he says it was almost like a "what are you looking at" vibe from him. And she comes over to him, asks if she can sit down, genuinely curious why he's alone and looking kind of moody.
And he's honest.
Brutally honest. Basically says he doesn't feel like talking to anyone. And this complete lack of pretense, this like raw honesty, it creates this instant deep connection.
Okay, that's unexpected.
Totally. And get this. 2 hours later, her friends leave and she just tells him straight up how attracted she is and that she wants to go home with him.
Whoa, just like that.
Just like that. He's floored. No lines, no games, nothing. And she tells him why. She found him sexy, honest, strong, deep, and crucially, she felt safe.
Safe because he wasn't trying to manipulate her.
Precisely. So for you listening, what does that tell you? It kind of flips the usual script on attraction, right?
It really does. He stopped trying and boom, suddenly attractive. It made him question everything he thought he knew.
And he leaned into it, kept going with that given up state, just being himself, no need to convince anyone. That experience really seems to be the bedrock for his idea of magic.
The energetic connection.
Yeah, he talks about magic as this really intense, almost palpable vibe between two people. It's beyond words, beyond techniques.
And how does it happen?
He says it arises when you're empty enough to allow it, which sounds a bit mystical, but I think he means empty of ego, empty of agendas, empty of insecurity, just present.
Like when he felt that energy shift seeing Ciara, noticed his breathing change, and just stayed with it.
Exactly, just observing, being present, not trying to do anything about it. So for you listening, have you ever felt that unspoken connection, that sterilizing?
It sounds like being so tuned into yourself allows you to tune into that raw attraction with someone else. And he links this to vulnerability.
An unapologetic desire. Yeah, this is a really interesting point.
Explain that a bit more.
Well, he argues that when a man genuinely feels desire and isn't afraid to show it, not in a creepy way, but just authentically owning it, it actually gives the woman permission to become the whole feminine.
Okay.
Like women want to feel the effect they have. So when a guy is comfortable with his own masculine desire, it lets her relax into her feminine side in response.
He mentioned a woman blushing like crazy when he just honestly express his attraction.
Exactly. It highlights the impact of just being real, not playing it cool or hiding what you feel. Authenticity, even with desire, is powerful.
Which makes sense then, leading to his idea of effortless seduction.
Yeah.
It comes from that internal freedom.
Yeah, once he stopped needing to impress, just embraced who he was, flaws and all, he found himself attracting women, even those who were getting attention from guys who looked better on paper, you know? The conventionally high-value guys.
Like that internal freedom was radiating outwards.
That's how he describes it. Intoxicating, like women could just sense it. He even talks about women with boyfriends giving him these intense looks. It really supports the idea that true confidence, true attractiveness, it's an inside job.
Okay, so boiling it down, what are the core principles he landed on after all this? His main advice?
Well, a big one is developing a healthy mindset and intentions. Meaning genuinely wanting to connect with women as people, understand them, being willing to face your own stuff, your fears, and wanting to make them feel good, feel special, but also owning your intentions, honestly, whatever they are, as long as they're respectful.
Right. No hidden agendas. Just be clear with yourself first.
Exactly. Then there's eye contact. Super fundamental for him.
Windows to the soul and intentions.
Pretty much. He sees strong, relaxed eye contact when paired with those clear, good intentions as incredibly attractive. He even says practice it. It might feel weird at first, but it builds trust, shows confidence. Something for you listening to maybe pay attention to next time you chat with someone.
Okay, mindset, eyes. What else?
Your voice. He really believes your voice reflects your inner state, your self-perception.
Also.
He contrasts like a fast, high-pitched voice, maybe signaling anxiety, with a slower, lower, more resonant tone coming from the chest or belly. That suggests groundedness, confidence.
So practical advice there.
Yeah, he literally suggests recording yourself. Listen back. Try consciously slowing down, speaking from a lower place in your body. It's a tangible thing you can work on.
These are all quite internal shifts, aren't they? Mindset, how you hold yourself, how you speak, not external tricks.
Exactly. Which ties into his preference for discreet seduction.
Intense but laid back.
Yeah, and subtle. He argues that what really turns women on, emotionally speaking, isn't always logic or being nicey nice. It's often excitement, spontaneity, a bit of the unknown.
The roller coaster versus the gentle boat ride analogy.
That's the one. He thinks the roller coaster is way more likely to spark real attraction. So for you listening, maybe a reminder that being a little unpredictable in a fun way can be more engaging than being totally predictable.
And how does the discreet part play into it?
Well, he connects it to understanding social pressures women face around sexuality, the double standards, the potential for slut shaming.
Ah, okay.
So a more discreet, subtle approach can feel safer, give her more freedom from that judgment. It's about being sensitive to her world.
Which makes total sense with his next point about not actively picking women up.
Right. He feels women don't want to feel like a target, like they're being got. They want organic moments.
Connection that feels real.
Yeah. Born from integrity, confidence, but also sensitivity. He really dislikes those cheesy opening lines.
Hey, I saw you from over there.
Exactly. He's like, no. Be genuinely curious. Offer something, maybe a comment, a thought, without expecting anything back. What do you think about that, listener? Does that resonate?
And he backs this up with that story about his friend Ian, right? The unemployed friend.
Yeah, great example of owning who you are, whatever your situation. Ian didn't have the status, but he had self-acceptance, authenticity, and women responded to that.
It's like the baldness analogy he uses.
Perfect analogy. It's not being bald, it's how you feel about being bald.
So be unapologetic about where you are right now. Your job, your situation that doesn't define your worth.
Exactly. Own it. He even talks about when he felt he sucked with girls, he was just direct about it. That honesty is key.
And that honesty, owning his own stuff, that's what ultimately became attractive, which links to meeting women effortlessly, just by being okay with yourself.
Yeah, he says when you stop the internal criticism and start appreciating yourself more, your whole energy shifts outwards. You become more positive to be around.
Like the story in the Barcelona cafe. Yeah. With the crying woman.
Yes, perfect illustration. He wasn't trying to get her. He was just present, saw someone hurting, and offered comfort, empathy. It was a human connection, not a pickup attempt.
Totally different from that self-focused pickup mindset.
Right. It's about noticing others, feeling what they might be feeling, entering their world with understanding.
And this requires patience, doesn't it? Which is another point he makes.
Seducing with patience. Yeah, that story at the gallery and bar.
Where he was patient and the other guy was obviously impatient.
Exactly. Bale's point is, Give women space. Don't freak out if they seem hesitant at first. Let things unfold. He argues that patience actually builds trust and can lead to deeper connections, even faster intimacy, because she feels safer, more in control. Worth considering, listener, the power of just waiting a beat.
Okay, bringing it towards the end. There's that final, really pivotal moment for him, the life-changing note.
Ah, yes. The moment of surrender.
It's 3 words, right?
I give it up. Simple, but profound.
What did giving up mean for him, though? Not giving up on connection, surely.
No, not on connection itself. More like giving up on the trying. Giving up the need to be perfect, the fear of rejection, the need to control how things turned out.
Just allowing himself to be real, express what he felt, without an agenda.
Exactly. He realized that fear, the fear of losing control or looking bad, often shuts down our real selves.
And his final takeaway from that.
That powerful idea. Only a man who really knows and owns his own value can share himself freely without fearing loss. Kind of ties everything together, doesn't it?
It really does. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Chris Bale's journey, what are the big takeaways?
Well, we've definitely seen this clear shift, haven't we? From chasing external validation via seduction tactics to finding that real fulfillment comes from inside, from authenticity, vulnerability, having a purpose bigger than just dating.
Yeah, it really emphasizes genuine connection over any kind of manipulation or playing a role. Self-acceptance seems key.
Definitely. His story shows that move from needing external approval to finding happiness within his own world, his passions.
So, maybe a final thought for you listening.
Yeah, maybe think about what parts of trying to impress, trying to get a certain result, what parts of that might actually be getting in the way of your real connections, your own sense of fulfillment.
What might happen if you, like Bale, just decided to give up some of that effort?
It's definitely something to chew on. Maybe thinking about that balance between going after what you want and also cultivating that inner peace, that self-acceptance.
Perhaps digging into things like self-compassion or figuring out your own values away from what society tells you. That could be useful direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it feels like a good place to leave it for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Until next time.